Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into a question that, let's be honest, a lot of us have probably thought about. Can natural supplements actually help control hunger? We're going to look at the real science behind some of these popular aids, and we'll be using a super detailed review from Healthline as our guide.
I mean, this is the classic struggle, right? You're doing everything right, you've got your plan, you're all motivated, and then bam, that hunger just hits you and throws everything off track. It's such a common problem, which is exactly why so many people are curious about natural ways to help. So let's see what the research really says.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the big question, can plants really do anything? Then, we'll get into two of the main ways they might work. First, the fiber effect, and second, things that boost your brain and metabolism. After that, we'll look at a few other botanical contenders and wrap it all up with the bottom line, what this all means and how to think about it wisely.
So let's get right to it. Can these herbs and plants genuinely help us manage our appetite? That's the core of what we're talking about today. But you know, it's so important to be clear from the get-go. We're talking about them as potential aids to a healthy lifestyle, not some kind of magic pill that works all by itself.
The Healthline review we're looking at covers 10 different natural options. And what's really interesting is that they don't all work the same way. Some of them are designed to work on your brain, to kind of quiet down cravings, while others have a more physical effect in your stomach to help you feel fuller. We're going to break down these different approaches next.
All right, our first major category is what we're calling the fiber effect. This is one of the most well-known ways to manage hunger, and it all comes down to a very, very specific type of fiber. And that specific type is called viscous fiber. The way it works is actually pretty cool. When you eat it, this fiber mixes with water in your gut and forms this thick, gel-like substance. Basically, it creates a little traffic jam in your digestive system, which slows everything down and means your stomach stays feeling full for longer. It's a really simple but powerful physical way to keep hunger at bay.
So, which plants have this kind of fiber? Well, two common examples are fenugreek and glucomannan. Now, for fenugreek, one small study found that tea made from it did make people feel less hungry, but it didn't actually change how much food they ate. So, the jury's kind of still out on that one. Glucomannan, on the other hand, which comes from the Konjac root, seems a bit more promising. A big review in 2020 found it could lead to a modest but significant reduction in body weight.
Now, we have to pause for a second here because there is a super important safety warning with glucomannan. Because it works by soaking up water and expanding, it can actually be dangerous if you don't take it the right way. The research is very clear. You must take it with 1 to 2 full glasses of water. This is to stop it from swelling up in your throat, which could be a serious choking hazard.
Okay, let's switch gears. We've talked about the physical feeling of fullness, but now let's move on to brain chemistry. This next group of supplements includes compounds that work on a totally different level. They try to influence things like your hunger hormones and the speed at which your body burns energy.
Let's start with a really fascinating one, the Griffonia simplicifolia plant. This plant has a compound in it called 5-HTP. When you take it, your body converts that 5-HTP directly into serotonin, right in your brain. And since serotonin is a key player in regulating your mood and appetite, the whole idea is that by boosting its levels, you might feel more satisfied and less hungry.
But, and this is another really critical safety point, messing with your serotonin levels is very serious business. Taking 5-HTP supplements can actually increase your risk of something called serotonin syndrome, which is a potentially dangerous condition. So the advice here is crystal clear. Always, always talk to a doctor before you even consider taking it.
Next up is a really popular one, green tea extract. What's cool here is that it's not just one thing doing the work. It's more like a 1-2 punch. First, you've got the caffeine, which we all know is a stimulant that can help suppress appetite and increase fat burning. But you also get these things called catechins, especially one called EGCG, which are thought to help boost metabolism. The research suggests it's the combination of the two working together that's most effective.
Sticking with that stimulant theme, we've got two other heavy hitters, yerba mate and coffee. Yerba mate, that popular South American plant, has been shown in some studies to help reduce body fat and appetite, especially if you take it before exercising. And then there's good old coffee. Thanks to its caffeine, it can help increase how many calories you burn and reduce your appetite, especially if you drink it anywhere from a half hour to 4 hours before you eat.
Okay, our final group of supplements are what we'll call the botanical contenders. These are some other plants that have been studied for weight management, but as we're about to see, the evidence for them is, well, it's a bit more all over the place.
This table gives us a quick snapshot.
For something like Gymnema sylvestre, we see some promise in animal studies, but we're still waiting for good human trials. Then you have Caralluma fimbriata, which has really mixed results. Maybe the most promising of this bunch is Garcinia cambogia. A pretty recent review did find it could help reduce body weight and fat mass. And then there's CLA, which might help reduce body fat. But the big theme for all of these is pretty clear. More research is definitely needed.
So after going through all these different plants and all these different mechanisms, what is the big takeaway here? What's the bottom line? This is probably the most important part of this whole explainer. And here it is, straight from the source. The single most important point is that these supplements may help when used alongside a healthy diet and exercise program. That word, alongside, is everything. These are meant to be tools in the toolbox, not the whole solution. They're there to supplement your efforts, not replace them. So, just to bring it all back together, we've seen a whole range of ways these things might work. We've talked about the physical stuff, like fiber literally slowing down your digestion. We've covered the metabolic effects, like boosting your energy burn. And we've looked at the chemical side, like trying to influence the hunger signals in your brain. It's just a great reminder that appetite suppression isn't one single thing.
And that really leaves us with this final question to chew on. Are these natural supplements a genuinely helpful tool that you can add to your toolkit? Or is this a classic case where all the hype and marketing has just gotten way ahead of the science, which is still trying to play catch-up? Based on what we've seen, the answer, it probably lies somewhere in the middle.